Welcome back everyone. Thank you very much for everyone's feedback and support so far. Just a quick one, I am getting a lot of phone calls through my firewood business, people asking to speak to me, chat to me. Really do appreciate all the love and support out there, it's great. I'm really enjoying making these videos. Getting a lot of messages through my private Facebook, emails, all sorts. So thanks for that. So one of the things that come up quite often is that people want to see maintenance videos, so like chainsaw maintenance, sharpening videos for your chains, chain making, processor maintenance, etc. So what I thought was I'll start filming and showing people not how to do it, how I do things. And that way, if you take something away from it, great. Obviously I've got my experience and you may learn something, you may not, you may already know everything, I'm not too sure, but what people ask, I'll try and do when and where I can. One thing that I'm going to do, which I'll talk about at the end, is Sunday lives, so then people can ask me the questions that they want to, but we'll touch base on that at the end. So today we are going to, I am going to show you how to make some chainsaw chain. So here we have my little station where I make my chains. So I purchased my chain in 100-foot reels. Sometimes I might go a bit more, sometimes I'll never buy a bit less because I don't see the point myself. So I mainly buy 3/8 chain because I run my 500i and I run my 661 predominantly. So that's the chain I tend to go for. We have the chain breaker and chain maker. So I'm going to show you exactly what all the components are. I'll make a chain, show you how to do that, and give you a few tips. And while I'm doing that, I'll probably sip a lovely bit of the Jolly Lager provided by Fuelwood. So to start with, we have our chain breaker. Now the chain breaker is pretty self-explanatory. So we have a lever and we have the breaker there. So the breaker you can get different bits for, which you can buy. It comes with those two bits that it's got now, but you can buy additional bits or replacement parts. So essentially a breaker, you just push down the lever and pop the rivet out. Here you have basically, I don't know the technical name for it, I call it the gauge, so the breaker gauge. So you have different, see if it will focus, basically you have different measurements for your chain. So different chains can go in here and you find the measurement for your chain and use it. You want your bar runners to sit that side and your teeth to fit in there when you break it, but I'll show you that in a minute. So when you buy a roller chain, you always end up with more bits of kit than you need. So you've got your links here, try and pick it up, and then that will go. This is so hard one-handed, especially when I'm not left-handed. There you go. And then that will sit on there, you'll clamp that on your chain and round it off. So when you mushroom that over, you'll use what you call the chain maker. Now I'm not sure if this is the only name for it. So essentially you have your pressure there that you'll wind in, and then you will have your mushroomer, I call it, on the maker, that mushrooms the rivet over and gets you a nice finish similar to that. There we go, similar to that. When I do my chain, you can read the bar and find out how many links it is. I already know how many links mine are. Mine's 114 link for the one I'm about to do. I always say count your links because sometimes on your bar you might wear out the figures if you don't know the figures off by heart. So always count your links on your previous chain. As long as your previous chain's been done right, then your new chain will be right. One little handy thing here is Tipp-Ex. Now you'll see why that comes in handy later, but it stops you from miscounting links when you go to break. So there are a few ways you can measure your chain. I tend to count the links, that's my preferred way. You can get measuring guides essentially that basically you roll your chain out and you mark it with there and you basically cut it there or break it there. Or some people have their own measurements on the bench where they'll have a screw at one end, hook it on a screw and pull it round. Me, I prefer this way. It's just as simple, and the only thing that can go wrong is my counting which so far hasn't happened. But one thing I will say about chain making, the most experienced people do make mistakes, right? Whether it's putting the link on backwards or whatever, and I'm going to show you a few bits in a minute. But if you don't get it right, don't worry about it. Try again, re-break it, try again. A few things to bear in mind: if you buy different chains, so this is Oregon chain, you can buy steel chain, you can buy other brands as well. But the links you get with it, keep that for that brand. So always use the same brand links as you do as chain. I don't think there would be an issue myself. I haven't really tested that, but I've always been told that if you're going to use a certain brand chain, use the same brand links because they'll be the same. So I've always gone with that rule of thumb. So you just grab that and just pop it through like that. Don't know if I knocked the camera that time. I think that was alright. So it's actually really difficult to do this with a camera. And then you do the same again. Just go, bit of pressure. And she's through. You broke the chain out. Right, let's get rid of that. Now, one thing to always do, you see your broken bits, you don't want them ending up your good links. So always throw these away straight away. Now again, excuse the camera. Now this will be your link when it's completed. Obviously it's got the cap on at the minute, the top plate of the link, sorry. Now one thing to bear in mind is to get this the right way round. So when you look at a chain, you've got your top and you've got what you call the rider. That's the riding part of the link that goes on your bar. Make sure you put that the right way around when you join the chain. I've done it before where you actually put that upside down and you've got to break it back off again. Trust me, just always double check that is the right way around. Now sit on your chain like that and go through. So this is obviously like your vice grip that you'll tighten, and then you'll rotate here to mushroom the end over. The key is not to go too tight or too loose, so you want a bit of wriggle room in there so your chain can move freely like the rest of your links like that. Hold on, you can't even see that. So your chain can move freely like the rest of your links like that. So you put that on there. Now remember, you want your back piece with what you call the rivets on, I guess, at the back. You want that where your clamp is. And then you want your front piece, which is your joining piece. That way, just remember that these are oiled already a little bit, so they are quite slick. I think it's to preserve the chain, I'm not 100% sure why. And then you just apply a little bit of pressure there. Alright, so you try and make sure that's central. There's two things you can use. So, on the ones I learnt on, you didn't have this symbol here, which is the oil symbol. When they're a bit older, they kind of peel off, wear away, even if I peeled that off now, they just do. So, you can use 3-in-1 oil, which is what I use, just to lubricate that bit. It's a lot easier to rotate it. Or you can use WD-40. Now, I prefer 3-in-1 oil myself, so you literally just want to add a drop like that. As you rotate, you want to just tighten up. Don't worry if the chain moves a bit because you're only clamping that side. I'm doing it opposite handed to what I usually would do because the camera's there. I should have set it up on the other side really. You do the same there. Might have done that one a little tight. We'll see in a minute. Should be fine. So essentially that's what it will look like once it's done. Now, the way of gauging is, can it move freely? Yes. Is it too tight? No. Can you get too much wriggle room there? No. So you don't want it where it's clamped really tight on it. We're losing focus, where it's clamped really tight on it, but then you don't want it too loose. So I think that is a really, 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 really good position to be. I do apologise about the camera. I'm trying to do it in a way where, yeah, see it, there we go. So you want it so it's not too loose or too tight. So you want a bit of wriggle room, but nothing where it's wriggling too much. You'll be able to turn and bending, you'll be fine. And that is a good strong chain. I'm happy with that. When you buy a roller chain, you get a load of boxes with it, so you can label your chain, which one it's for, how many links it's got on it, and you go like that. I tend to not bother. I have drawers in my pickup, and plus when you put them in, it tends to knot up and not go in properly anyway, so I tend to not bother with that. But just for the purpose of the video, I'll put that in there. All right, 660 on it or whatever. But yeah, that is that. Makes you feel like a proper shot when you do that. I often get asked, is it worth making your own chain? And I will say 100% yes, because by the time you brought the chain making kit and the chain, once you've used that entire first roll of the chain, essentially it's paid itself off, I think anyway. Because depending where you go in the country, they could charge you, what, £24 plus VAT, £32 plus VAT, depending what shop as well. And if you add all that up for how many chains you get out of a reel, depending on the size of your reel, you will be saving money. The bigger reel it is, the more money you will save, essentially. So I always say after your first roll of chain, that'll pay for everything, and then after that, it's just saving you money, costing you a bit of time. But I enjoy making chain and sharpening chains and maintaining saws. If your sawmanship's right, as I've said before, I'm sure you'll do just fine. So this is a part of it. Make your own chains, file your own chains, and maintain your own saws. On another note, I've been getting a lot of people asking questions, as I mentioned at the beginning. Don't mind, completely happy with that. We're getting a lot of people ask, can I do sharpening videos? Can I do chainsaw maintenance videos? Of course, yeah, I'll try and film as much content as I can and show you everything, how I do things. Now, one thing that was asked was, can I show how to sharpen with a, I think they're called like a chain sharpener or bench grinder. Now, I have used them before. I don't particularly like them as much. Yeah, I've always thought, if I've got a file, I might as well file it anyway. I'm going to do a video on files as well. Files are not how they used to be. They're not the same quality at all, but I'll get to that in a bit, in another video. So what I've decided to do, I'll purchase a chain grinder and I'll do a video on it. Some of my lads probably prefer using that over filing, I'm not sure. I'll buy a fairly decent one because I don't like to buy cheap, buy twice, and it could come in handy, I don't know. My processors don't tend to need a, well, my processors don't need a chain. So essentially I don't have a processor to use it on, where I'm guessing where some of you do. It'd be interesting to know. So because I get a lot of these questions and people like calling up the business and doing bits and bobs like that, dropping me emails, messaging my personal Facebook, which is fine, I'll answer when I can. I thought, should I do Sunday lives, for example? So a live feed on YouTube on a Sunday. I don't know if it'll be every Sunday, don't know if it'll be fortnightly or monthly, but it's something that we can do. So let me know in the comments, drop me a message, drop me an email. Don't ring up just saying, can you do a live video? But I have spoken to a few companies we work with, and they said we could do some giveaways, maybe like some merch. I know Fuelwood was on board. I had a conversation with the APAC as well. So we've got a few other people that we're speaking to at the minute. We'll do a few giveaways as well. So see if we can make a community out of it, see how everyone gets on. Good to hear how your week went, whatever. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. So that's it for this video. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help. And I'll see you on the next one. I think the next one's the Firewood Diaries, so I'll see you there.